Hello there, guys. This is Solid Shepard bringing you another video. And today, something that caught my attention. This is not going to be video gaming. Instead, this video is going to divulge into the area of comic books. As you know, another thing that I am very interested in. And it has to do with diversity in comics. He's a YouTube channel. Anybody really who knows about comic books probably knows who he is. His real name, which they will talk about here in this video, that we'll be responding to from Comedy Central. Huge hit piece here, like obvious hit piece, is his name is Richard C. Meyer. A little background about him. Like I said, he does his comic book channel. He's very anti like politics and SJW bullshit inside of the comic book industry. And he's also crowdfunded like 2 graphic novels that got a lot of support. So he's actually an author, a comic book author himself too. And he's former Army, so he's a veteran. So yeah, that's a little background about him. One thing before we get started that we need to check about this video. All right. All right, where we go? Look at this. Look at this right here. 3.1 thousand likes. 11,000 dislikes. This goes to show you right there. Goes to show you right there what kind of thing we're about, what kind of quality A grade cancer we're about to get into right now. All right. So, anyways, I mean that's the best way to get started. Let's get started, right?
The biggest geek good news story of 2018 so far is the blockbuster success of Black Panther. It was a worldwide phenomenon. Plus, thousands of African-American kids packed movie theaters to finally see a superhero who looks like them.
Okay, so we gotta start right there. Okay, first of all, they're saying the only reason why it was good is because he was black. And they're also insinuating that black kids and adults, anyone who goes to see a movie, has to, like, have everything in common with them. They have to, like, religiously have to be in common with them, race-wise have to be in common with them. We see with the fat acceptance movement, and look, I'm a little chunky myself, but I'm that way because I chose to be that way. It's not healthy to be that way. I just, whatever, it's my choice. If someone calls me fat, whatever, to me it's no different than if someone calls a skinny person skinny. Anyways, that being said, they're insinuating that, and then on top of that, he is not the first black superhero ever. Just 2 at the top of my head, Spawn and Blade, like, were really big ones when I was growing up. And I really like those movies. I really, really enjoy those movies. Okay, let's continue.
Now, Marvel and DC are putting diverse characters in the spotlight. And even...
Okay, the problem... Okay, let's let them go a little bit now. Okay, so you saw right there, they replaced Iron Man with Riri Williams. Now, here recently, they have actually... I believe they brought Tony Stark back since Dave Slott took over. And Thor too. For a while, they replaced Thor with one of his old flames from back in the day. So they made Thor a woman, basically. And Thor wasn't Thor anymore. He was known as Odin's son, the Odin's son, and because he's the son of Odin, obviously that's his title. And yeah, so you just saw them replacing a lot. They didn't really replace Spider-Man because they still had Amazing Spider-Man, but they brought over Miles Morales from the Ultimate Universe, and they had his comic going alongside, so they didn't straight replace him. But you see a lot of that going on in Marvel, and a lot of people are getting tired of it, and that stuff like Diversity in Comics talks about, especially because the only reason really to replace some of these characters and then to push others that they created new were basically diversity for diversity's sake. That was literally it, and that's his problem. People like him and me, you don't have a problem with characters like Blade. In fact, they bastardized Blade. They turned Blade into like a glorified fucking delivery boy. Spawn. When's the last time you heard about Spawn? I don't think he's Marvel, but still, like Spawn. I don't remember the last time I saw a Spawn comic at a comic book store. He's a really good character. I remember growing up watching Static Shock, the cartoon, on Saturday mornings. So yeah, it's not that people have a problem with black characters; it's the way that they're going about it, and they're pretty much just replacing characters with ones that we already know, right? And In fact, if you go into the comment section, because I went through comments a little bit after initially seeing this video, there's actually a man claiming to be black. I say claiming because he doesn't have a picture of himself as an avatar. It looked like, I think it was a bird, but he says he is, and says, like, you know, he had never had any problems identifying with Captain America. So, like, you know, as long as characters are written well, you can identify with them. We're all humans, you know. We shouldn't identify as something as meaningless as the color that we were born as, right? That's not a defining characteristic of a person. It's just what you are physically. So anyways, let's continue.
San Diego Comic-Con to soak up the inclusive vibes. But I soon learned that for some, the good old days of comics are fading away.
So now you're gonna see, I know this well because I grew up watching The Daily Show with Jon Stewart and The Colbert Report. What they do in these segments is they either find the stupidest people they can manage, or they find someone who will look the part, and then they'll, like, give them a line, be like, hey, we'll pay you to act out this line. To make people look like caricatures. They look like caricatures of what they are claiming that these people are, basically.
So, comic book guy?
I am. Used to be.
Why do you say used to be?
Oh, I stopped reading it over the diversity issue.
Now, overall, they've been changing comic book characters a little too much.
There's a comic book
He has a point. They have, as I've already touched on. I've been touching on it too much.
tradition in a way, how each character should look.
Once again, yeah, how each character should look, or them literally replacing Thor with a woman and literally replacing Iron Man with a black teenage girl. Tony Stark, the millionaire, that's how he's Iron Man. They replaced him with a black that doesn't even make sense story-wise. So, you know, whatever. But you're going to see this guy is definitely a caricature. Like, he either doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about and is just pretending like he knows what he's talking about, or they paid him to say some shit. Because there's no way anybody's I don't know, there's no way anybody's actually this fucking stupid as this guy.
I think when they start making Superman gay and, you know, Aquaman transgender, it's like, I don't go around and parade what I am, don't go around and parade what you are.
Yeah, nobody's that fucking stupid. Like, come on.
Ah, for f***'s sake. Yes, there's an actual backlash against diversity in comic books.
There's a backlash against forced diversity. If it's, like I said, like if they made Static Shock his own comic book, right? Things like that. They brought Blade back as like a mainline hero. Like I said, I forget who actually publishes Spawn. I don't think it's Marvel or DC. I might be wrong about that. But, you know, like heroes like that, I would probably buy and read the fucking comics myself. Like, they're good written heroes. They're good characters.
And the movement is led by a supervillain. He runs a YouTube channel broadcast from his secret lair / bedroom closet.
And now you're about to see how they're going to cut up and try and make him look bad.
Today's video is going to be about Captain Marvel and how I hate her.
But he's never shown his face on camera.
Plot twist, the boyish lesbian showrunner decided to reboot She-Ra as...
For anybody who doesn't know, this was a joke in the video, kind of. It was mostly a joke.
as a boyish lesbian.
Who is this evil mastermind whining and complaining from the shadows?
He's not whining and complaining, he's making valid points.
Oh, yeah, there's too much. Yep, that checks out. Meet Richard Meyer.
He became a meme because of this, by the way. It is kind of funny. Like, if it wasn't so politically charged and so politically dishonest to attack his character, I would probably think some of this was funny, to be honest.
What are your thoughts on the current state of comic books?
Comics are kind of weirdly dying politics. Specifically,
They are weird. They are dying. If you actually look at Marvel sales, some of their ones they're trying to sell at the top, like Miss Marvel and stuff like that, you'll notice the sales are so low that back in the day, they would have literally canceled books for being that low. But now they try to push them and stuff. Like, the sales are down. There is no doubt about that. If you go and just look at the numbers, they're on the internet, you can Google them. The sales are definitely down.
identity politics being shoved into everything.
He had Nazi Captain America, who he became a part of fucking Hydra. right? You had Spider-Man, who was wearing Mockingbird's "Ask Me About My Feminist Agenda" shirt in one of the Spider-Man comic books. You had Mockingbird on one of her issue, or like her cover issues, saying wearing that shirt on the cover. Like I said, you for some reason just decided to have a woman who is dying of cancer become Thor. You killed off Iron Man and had him be replaced by a teenage black girl. We could go on and on here. He's got a point.
Used to look like a 1980s Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, basically looks like me now.
And he's right. I mean, women used to be able to look beautiful, and we're gonna, you know what? I'm gonna hold on this because there's a woman who says something later, and we'll touch on this when she says that.
Of course, are rocking those A cups. Anything above a B cup, you hate women.
He's got a point. If you try to make a woman beautiful, basically you hate women. That's the way they look at it.
Ms. Marvel was introduced as a
Ms. Marvel, the one I was talking about, she's a Pakistani Muslim superhero that literally the only character she has is that she's a teenage Pakistani Muslim superhero.
Pakistani American Muslim, Riri Williams, who replaced Iron Man. If you don't like her, it's because you're racist or sexist, but probably both.
And once again, he's right. Like if you say anything about these characters, it's because you don't like these characters because they're those things. And that's not the problem. The problem people have is that is literally the extent. I'm using literally a lot and I fucking hate myself for it. But anyways, that is the extent of their characters. That's why people don't like these characters. Like they are just what their demographic is, basically. That's the extent of their characters. And they are hiring people to write these characters who match their demographic, the character's demographic, just because they are that. They're writing women to write women, basically. Marvel's actually come out and said that they want to hire writers that match the background, like, of the character. So, like, only a black man can write Black Panther, for instance. These characters are just, that's all they are, is characters. Is Riri Williams is a teenage black girl with the Iron suit, with the Iron Man suit. That's it. That is the extent of her character. And there's some other stuff. Like there was, toward the beginning, there was a flashback where she was at school and the teacher was basically saying, you kids can become whatever you want to, whatever your dreams are, you just have to work for it. And she basically forced the teacher to tell her that she can't because she's black. The teacher didn't want to say it, but she forced the teacher to say it. Like, what? Really? That's the character? Come on now. That's why people have issues with these characters.
It would upset a racist.
I think it would.
And he's right. Yes. A black character would upset a fucking racist. But that's a pretty big logical leap to try and say that he's a racist, or any of us are racist because we don't like these characters, when that's not true. There are other legit reasons. So yes, it would upset a racist if Iron Man went from a white man to a black girl. It's true. That doesn't mean that's his reasons.
And for Maya, anyone who supports these changes is just a SJW.
Yes, if they support a character that their entire character is nothing more than some meaningless thing like their skin color or their, skin color and race are the same thing. Their skin color or their religion or their gender, and that's it. And they're defending this as good storytelling, then yes, that's a safe logical leap, right? Because if you can't come up with anything, any argument other than, oh, you just hate her because she's black and you're a white man. If you can't come up with any other reason to defend it, then other than you're white and you're a white male and you don't like it, then yeah, you're probably an SJW. I'm just saying.
Social justice warrior.
Black is your shield and woman is your sword.
And the point he's making here, like they try to make him once again look like a fucking bigot here with the cut. What he's saying is the black is the shield, because especially as a white person, you're not in society nowadays. You're not allowed to say anything about black people, or else you're racist, and that can literally like make you lose your career. It's happened. We've seen it happen. Everyone thought PewDiePie was a racist for accidentally blurting out the N-word, and you saw what happened with him, how people tried to take him down. They thought he was anti-Semitic at one point because the Wall Street Journal's fucking shitty ass hit piece on him, and that's another, anti-Semiticism is like another form really of racism. So Disney dropped him. His network dropped him over that. So yes, that's a shield that they use, because they know if they can make you look like a racist, then you're done. And then the sword, we said white person, but now white male or male in general, they'll attack you with the feminism, basically. The feminism movement, they'll attack you with that. That's the attacking branch. That's basically what he's saying. Okay? That's it. But they try to cut it to make it look like he's saying something that he's not.
I don't know, fucking swords and shields. It all sounds so childish. It was time to bring some adults into the conversation.
You're adults. Oh boy, this should be good.
I assembled an elite team of proud social justice warriors.
Loki, Harley Quinn, Green Lantern, Seducer.
Doug. Fantasy roleplay from the King of Queens, I assume. Richard Meyer, he believes that diversity is ruining the comic book industry.
It is. Whoops. That's forced diversity. Forced diversity is ruining it.
He's not been reading comics.
Why do you think some people can be so possessive?
Did you just hear what that guy said? I've been reading comics. Oh, well, if you're been reading comics, then it must be true. You're one person, dude. Look at the fucking sales.
I think once you make a connection with a character that you like a lot, it creates this sense of ownership.
If you see yourself...
She made a reasonable point. I can see that. But that goes for anybody. Like, if the guy's comment I was saying earlier, he's always connected with Captain America. He's been watching Captain America reading Captain America since he was a child. Even as a black man, he's made a connection with Captain America being Steve Rogers, the white dude, the blonde hair and all that. He would not want to see Steve Rogers suddenly be rewritten as a black person, And he probably didn't like it because they did do that. They did replace him for a while with, I forget the guy's name. The guy at the wings, Falcon? I don't remember. But that guy became Captain America, and he was a black man. So there was a black man as Captain America for a while. And he probably didn't like that very much.
In the character, it boosts your confidence. You don't feel like you're so alone in the world.
There's been
Hold on. Oh, you don't feel like you're so alone in the world because of an imaginary character on a page or a screen. And not only imaginary character, but it's just because they share certain physical traits that are the same as you. So either they have the same dingly bits, between the legs, or they have the same, skin color. Same pigment of skin. Can't say I really? And that's the problem, is people like this are what are ruining the industry. Because things like that are more important than story and character development.
breasts.
Okay, now he's talking about the reduction of breast part. Hold on, we're actually going to play a little bit, because I'm going to wait for this girl to say what she's going to say.
How about this controversy?
We don't want to always see ourselves overly objectified just as...
She's cosplaying as Seducer, a character that's all about using her sexuality to her advantage. She is literally cosplaying as a character called Sedusa. Not Medusa, Sedusa, as in keyword seduce. Sedusa. Okay. And not only that, this is the point where I said that I wanted to hold off on something I was going to say earlier. Now we're going to get into it. Superman, Batman, He-Man, Black Panther, almost any male superhero you can think of. Spider-Man even though he's more lanky, he's still like really muscular. You know, Captain America. We can go on and on. Every male superhero is super bulky and muscular. He is like the epitome of what every man wants to look like. Perfect, shredded, fucking muscular. You know, perfect fucking fighter and warrior and martial artists. You know, like all the, you know, they are these imaginations. Like these perfect, what's the word I'm looking for? Like there are these perfect examples of what we could be or we wish we could be. Because it's fantasy. It's a fucking comic book. That's what it is. It's the same thing as video games. Right? It's because we don't want to play or read about some fat ass or skinny little no muscle guy, right? We wanna see something that we wish we could be or aspire to be. You know, it's fantasy. That's the point. So as a woman, are you telling me, any women who might come across this video, are you telling me that you would not want to be, you know, thick in all the right places and then skinny and toned in all the other places? Are you telling me you would not want to be that? Ideally, if Dragon Ball is real and someone summoned the eternal dragon in front of you and you could wish for it, are you telling me, or someone's going to wish for it for you, are you telling me you would tell them no? Don't do that? I'm fine the way I am right now. Why do you think women get like breast implants and stuff all the time? It's the same thing. Okay, the way men want to be in their ideal way. When you saw those old female superheroes with like the perfect butts and the, you know, six-pack abs and the big tits and all that, the long flowing hair, you know, the perfect fucking, you know, cheekbones and, you know, the high cheekbones and all that. That's why. That's the idealized, like, human form, basically. Yeah, it's not realistic. But it's not realistic to be able to fly around Metropolis and shoot lasers from your eyes and have super strength where you can pick up a fucking freight train either. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. It doesn't have to. They're superheroes. They're comic books. That's the point. That is literally the point. I have enough reality. I don't know about you, but I have enough reality in my daily life. So yeah. Okay? If you never would want to see He-Man or someone, or Superman or anybody not look the way they do now, then in the same thing, there should be a reasonable expectation that you should understand why these characters should look the way they do. And then on top of that, like what the first girl said, you know, you grow up with these characters, you get attached to them, you're used to them being what they are. When you change that for forced diversity, that's also an issue for your readers. You know, you're changing, especially if you claim that physical appearance is so important, things like skin color and stuff, and you're just gonna change it. That's a double standard. Okay, I'm done. I'm off my high horse on that one.
By someone's weird fantasy.
Okay, but what about like if He-Man had a dad bod?
See, he makes this point here, but they don't even allow anyone to like let it sink in or how they feel about it. They just kind of let them laugh and then let's move on to the next one.
I have the power over the temperature in this house. Do you think that politics can sometimes get in the way? Why can't we just have like a fun story about a superhero?
I think the thing with comics is they've always followed the trends of the political landscape. Take Superman.
Okay, so he's right? I mean, he's about to say take Superman, you know, and an alien from another world comes, you know, makes America his home or whatever. It's true. And then you had Captain America, you know, punching a Nazi on the cover of one of his comic books back in the day. It's all true. But the difference is the politics were like a subcontext, right? They were an engine to drive the story, But the story and the character development and all that good stuff was still really good, right? The politics that were in any stories, that they were in a specific story, they were only ever about, like, they were an engine to drive the characters. That's what they were. Their engine, motivation, or whatever. They were not the story. And that's the problem, is literally the politics is all that are in these comic books now. That's it. There's no character development. I mean, God forbid a female fucking character go through a little bit of trial and tribulation, you know? Can't have that. Gotta have Mary Sue's. Like, that's the problem, is it's just the politics now. That is the problem. Most people, including diversity in comics, it's just the politics. Now, obviously, that's not true in all comic books, especially DC has a few good ones, you know, going still, but especially in Marvel, like, so often you'll read a comic book and you'll be like, there was nothing in here other than, like, basically an elaborate Twitter shitpost about something that the writer believes in. And it's sad. That's why. Like, that's everything. That's his point.
His whole thing is that he's an alien on a completely different planet and has adopted the country America as his home and is trying to fit in. That is the whole ego.
Here comes the shitty joke.
I might be Superman. My SJWs are making good points, but I like
Not really. I just debunked all of them.
finding common ground. Maybe we need some characters with traits that appeal to both sides. I brought a few ideas. Okay, a bat.
Notice how he's spending most of the time with the SJWs. He literally just brought in diversity in comics so they could have a long interview and then cut it up to the point to make him say a couple things out of context to make him look as bad as possible, and the rest of the time was devoted to these people. Like, this is propaganda, folks. This isn't comedy. I mean, yeah, there's some parts that are kind of funny, but it is propaganda. This is propaganda. It's literally nothing else but propaganda.
Batman, but he's Latino and he only protects gated communities. Fat Zimmerman. No?
Okay, to their credit, they said no. Yeah, that would be a terrible idea.
Okay, so how do you feel about this black Superman? Okay, a slightly less black Superman.
Yeah, no, that's actually better.
I have a feeling when he said that, it wasn't in reference to the slightly less dark Superman. I have a feeling they showed him something else.
Black Panther's villain, Killmonger, but now is played by a woman, and the way that she attacks Black Panther is by calling the cops while he's trying to barbecue.
My Black Lives Matter. Look, all cops aren't like that. There are some. Some of the videos that are shared on the internet, yeah, you can look like, yeah, they shouldn't have done that. There are some bad apples, definitely, that should be prosecuted harder than they are. That doesn't mean every cop who's ever called to a black fucking barbecue is going to instantly kill someone for having a fucking barbecue.
Hermit monger.
We found one. We found one. All right, that might fix the characters. But Meyer and his crew aren't just fighting what's in comic books, they're also attacking women and people of color who make comic books.
Here we go.
People for BuzzFeed. Look, we hired this overweight black woman. Isn't that exciting?
So the point he's making, because they're gonna try to do this out of fucking context too. The point that he is making is they hire, right, like he said, like this black woman, right, this fat black woman, not because she's a good writer, not because she has a good resume, not because she has good experience, not because she said good things that showed she had good ideas in the interview, not because any of that. They are hiring her because she's fat, black, or a woman, or all of them, or trans, or gay, or Muslim, they're hiring these people for these reasons and not because they actually deserve the job. That's his point. Now, if there was a fat black woman who had a long track history of making good comics and the comics sold and everything, she had a good track record and she had all the right, resume and all that, then he wouldn't. I've watched him for a while. He wouldn't have an issue with that. I mean, his kids. He has a few kids of different races. One of them is of Middle Eastern descent. So he doesn't hate people of color. He hates the fact that, like I've said with the storytelling, right? That's it, and the characters. That's the extent of it. Nothing else. No substance outside of physical traits or, if you're Muslim, so you can write a Muslim character in Miss Marvel. Like that's the problem. They're hiring people based on being a diversity hire. And it's not just, okay, affirmative action, we've already met our quota of white people, so we gotta hire some, black people or women, right? That's not what he's taught. That's not it. Like, it's across the board. If anything, they need some affirmative action for some straight white male Christians. And I'm not really even a religious person, I'm just saying, like, they hire people based off of traits and not ability or experience.
You have said that some women are sleeping their way to get into these positions.
So I did.
Okay, now they're gonna say something he made offhand in an old video, and he regrets saying it. And since then, he's actually made a video saying he sincerely apologizes for saying it. Okay, he's just a YouTuber. Before he got the crowdfund going and everything, and made those 2 graphic novels, he was /comic books. He was just he's just a YouTuber like me, right? He just grew a lot faster and a lot bigger, but he said some shit, and he regrets it. It does not, and this is where the meme came from. You're probably seeing it all over the internet. Is that was a bad idea? It was a bad idea, but he's apologized for it. He feels bad about saying it.
It's a common thing for my enemies to bring up.
Literally sucked her way into the comic industry. Is a dumpster.
You called a woman a dumpster.
Yeah.
And he's not lying about it, he's not running away from it.
Yeah, it was a bad idea.
Even if you don't believe that you're a racist or homophobic or sexist, isn't a fear of yours that you were attracted?
Even if you don't believe that you are. So basically he's saying that he believes he is. And he thinks that everybody should believe he is. But even if he doesn't believe he is, then what about he's about to say? I just want to point that out, the play on words he just used there.
Some people who are.
I don't really think about stuff like that much.
Right. Seems like you might want to.
No. He can't control who watches his videos any more than I can control who's watching this video. I can say, whatever your ideas and stuff are, don't go and be a toxic cancer, but it's up to you whether you're going to listen to me or not. Just like this guy, he doesn't know the people who are watching his show on Comedy Central. There might be some terrible child rapists who watch his show. He has no control over that. I'm just saying, it's such a stupid argument.
Start thinking about it, Richard. Other people are. What do you think of Richard Meyer?
He's a garbage person.
He's a garbage person. Why? Because he wants the best for the comic book industry?
He's a you can say on this show.
Not biased at all, folks. It's not biased at all.
Look, clearly Richard's upset. He can no longer pick up any comic book and instantly relate to the characters he sees.
I already touched on this earlier.
And that's a real feeling, because it's how women and minority groups have felt their entire lives.
No, it's not. And like I said, most of these people Okay, the Blade movies and the Spawn movie and all that, Static Shock, the cartoon I grew up with, all existed. Women have had Wonder Woman and, you know, Captain Marvel, who was the original Miss Marvel before the actual Captain Marvel, who was a guy, died, and she took the mantle of his superhero, basically, his uniform and his name and all that. These characters have existed. Spider-Woman, Batgirl. These characters have existed. It's just these people just don't look at that because they're not the most popular, because they aren't the main demographic that are into comic books. They are not the main audience of comic books. That's not saying there is not women or, you know, minorities. Obviously there are who are into comics, but they're not the majority. And that is why those books haven't sold as much, and they've been canceled a lot of times when they've come into existence and stuff. I mean, that's not even really the reason why, though, because, like I said, I like Blade. There was the guy in the comment section I was talking about, like Captain America. You know, as a reader, you should be connected with the character, not the skin color or the religion of the character or the gender of the character. You should be connected to the character. And, okay, so yeah. Basically, I already touched on this. I was just, you know, pushing into it a little bit more.
Wake the f*** up, Richard.
No, you wake the fuck up. Okay? You wake the fuck up. Just because a character's black and is written by a black author, right, doesn't make it good. And, in fact, most actual black people I have met, if they know about Riri Williams or not, and if they don't, I explain to them that Tony Stark was replaced by a teenage black girl. They're like, what the fuck? And then I explain her character a little bit, and they're like, why would they do that? I don't want that. It's not a good thing. Minorities don't even see it as a good thing. Maybe the brainwashed, like, far left people do, but your average person, your average comic book reader, regardless of background, regardless of skin color, doesn't think that's a good thing.
You don't like aren't written for you. You know what? I think
They aren't written for you. Okay. Well, Thor, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America, they aren't written for you. They're not your superheroes. Whoever you are that he is referring to, they're not your superheroes. So, Iron Man should have never been a woman. You know, a black teenage girl. Thor should have never been a woman. Miles Morales should never have existed. You get my point here? I'm not actually saying that. I'm trying to make a point. Once again, it's a stupid fucking argument.
I think I like this better how we started.
And that's it for that video. As I said, you know, pure cancer. There's obviously a good reason why the like to dislike ratio is so fucking insane. Look at that. 3.1 thousand to 11,000. 11,000 dislikes. Oh gosh. And just so you don't think that I was making up, look at these comments. Let's look at these comments real quick. There's my stuff. I mentioned the like to dislike ratio, and nice hit piece there, Comedy Central. This just proves everything he has said about the industry correct. That's what I said. This guy says Richard should mention his 4 kids of different races. That's true. I mentioned that. Great editor you have there. You managed to help him more than anything else. Thanks for that. Yeah, he did. He got him exposure. Here it is right here. Brown Hawk 2. I'm a black man and I always related to Captain America. I always related to Batman. I always related to Green Lantern. All 3 of them. I always related to good characters and good stories. And that's exactly my point. Now, it doesn't matter if that's fucking, you know, if that's Thor, the real Thor, It doesn't matter if that's Batman. It doesn't matter if that's Black Panther. You know, it doesn't matter if that's Static Shock. It doesn't matter if that's Spawn. It doesn't matter if that's Blade. You know, it doesn't matter if that's Captain Marvel. It doesn't matter if that's Wonder Woman. If they're good characters, people read them. If they're not good characters and it's just forced diversity, and in politics it's literally the extent of the character and stories, then people won't like it. Comedy Central and Daily Show, etc., they treat liberals like the stunted children they are. Well, I wouldn't say necessarily they're stunted children, but they sure make it hard to disagree with that sentiment. Yeah, like they treat them like children. Like they tell them, this is what you're gonna think. This is not going to go the way you think. A nice Star Wars reference there. That Star Wars is a whole nother topic. Talking about objectification of women dressed as Sedusa. Thanks to the Black Panther, black people can finally see a superhero that looks like them. Guess I imagine all those other movies starring black superheroes such as 3 Blade movies, Spawn, Steel, Hancock, Blankman, The Meteor Man, Catwoman. Because Catwoman was played by Halle Berry. These people don't buy comics, they watch the movies. It's a different crowd. That might be true. I can't really say one way or the other definitively. The only thing I can respect about this is that Comedy Central hasn't disabled the comment section yet. Yeah, not yet. The like to dislike ratio says it all. It does. So yeah, you can see we keep on going down. I'm not gonna read all these, but you can see like I couldn't find anything in support of Comedy Central. Like, nice hack job on the edits. Thanks, Jim. I did not know diversity in comics existed until now. I just subscribed to his channel. Yeah, like, so, yeah, just, I had to do a video on this. I mean, I was sitting here being like, what kind of video do I want to do today anyways? And I was like, you know what, I have to do a video on this. This is just, you know, quality grade cancer right here. Quality grade cancer right here. Just propaganda. And I feel like as many people as they can should debunk stuff like this, because this is, you know, I always say, you know, I'm mainly a PC gamer now, thanks to Rags. Anyone knows who Rags is? The talking doggo with the sunglasses. I used to be a console gamer, right? And then he kind of opened my eyes, and then I kind of started becoming more in line of the stuff he says, because it started making sense. And I was a corporate shill, basically, making all the excuses in the world for but then, like, my eyes were open. I realized this is anti-consumer, like, you know, like exclusives are anti-consumer, and then people in the console community are always, instead of just being like, okay, PC, that's better, but I'd still prefer playing on my console. Fair enough. But people don't say that. They try to make up misinformation, and I don't like misinformation. I don't like lies, and this is like as misinformation as you can get. So I had to, you know, I had to do it, especially a YouTuber that I actually personally enjoy watching. I didn't want to just see him get his character being assaulted like that, and not do something that I can, basically, for it. So, you know, I can make this video. I don't know how popular it'll be or how not popular, but at least I tried, I guess. Plus, these are always fun. Anyways, if you're still watching after I just rambled for like probably 3 minutes about nothing there, thank you for watching. As always, guys, it's been Solid Shepard. Until next time, I should go.